Good evening and welcome to this edition of The List on UWW-TV. I'm Matt Ellis alongside Nolan Zopydlowski. For the next few minutes, we'll present our top 5 sports stories of the week and discuss why they made the top 5. Did your top 5 make our list? Let's find out. At our number 5 spot, UW Whitewater Warhawks basketball seasons are coming to an end. UW Whitewater men's basketball team faced off against UW Oshkosh in an 86-77 loss in the semifinal of the WIAC tournament. This will conclude the men's basketball seasons where they finished with a record of 15-11. UW Whitewater women's basketball team are set to host the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament. The Warhawks women's basketball team will face Ripon College in a first-round game Friday. What's your thoughts on the Warhawks this season, and do you think the UW Warhawks women's basketball team can win at home against Ripon College?
Well, first to start with the boys, I think that this was just way too inconsistent of a season. I mean, we saw some prolific highs. We saw them beat the eventual WIAC champions, the UW Oshkosh Titans, early in the season. We also saw a victory over UW Platteville, who finished second. But we also saw some bad losses. They lost to River Falls twice. They went to overtime with Platteville, who didn't get their first conference win until the tournament. So really just an up and down year for the boys, and unfortunately it was cut too short for them to make the NCAA tournament. As for the women, I absolutely think that they can run through Ripon. They have an 11-1 home record, and I think that that's going to help them get a victory in the tournament. At our number 4 spot, a new era of Philadelphia 76ers basketball began on Friday night as former MVP and future Hall of Famer James Harden debuted for the franchise. He had 27 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds in a 133-102 win over the Timberwolves. It may be too early to tell, but does the James Harden trade make the 76ers now the team to beat in the East? And Matt, what does James Harden bring to this team?
I think James Harden brings a lot to this team. I think the first thing he brings is just scoring. I think he's one of the best scorers in the league. I don't really care about this narrative that he's a lazy, not a hard worker kind of player, but I think Harden's going to bring a lot of offense to his Philadelphia 76ers team. I think he's a really nice pairing with Joel Embiid, so I just think that now the Sixers are one of the better teams in the East, and I wouldn't be surprised if they could challenge a team like the Bucks come playoff time. As far as the Nets, you're kind of giving up your championship window, but I think if Ben Simmons comes back and plays more of a Draymond Green type of role, paired with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, I think it's kind of an interesting lineup, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did kind of make a shot towards the top of the East and even kind of do something come playoff time. I think the Nets could be a really scary team that a lot of people are sleeping on. Staying in the NBA for our third story of the week, Chicago Bulls star Demar Derozan went for 37 points on 15 of 21 shooting from the field in Thursday night's win over the Atlanta Hawks. This extended his streak of games with 35 or more points on 50% or better shooting from the field. The winning bucket came with 15 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter as Demar Derozan made an and-one jumper. With the Bulls being the number 1 seed in the East and Demar Derozan on pace for the high-scoring season of his career, could Derozan be in line to win this year's MVP award? And can the Bulls translate their success to the playoffs? Nolan, what do you think?
Well, I think Demar Derozan is definitely an MVP candidate. I wouldn't say he's the front runner right now. I think he is 4th behind Giannis, Joel Embiid, and Jokic, with Embiid being number 1. So I think he'd really have to have a strong end to the season for him to get that number 1 spot, but I absolutely think he can bring the Bulls some playoff success. Now, granted, the Bulls are kind of inexperienced in the playoffs, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them get bounced by a little more experienced teams such as the Bucks, the Heat, the 76ers going forward. But Demar Derozan definitely makes this team a lot more dangerous than they were the last few seasons, and I think that he's going to give the Bulls a good shot to win the East.
Yeah, I think the Bulls do have a shot to win the East, but I do think Joel Embiid should be the MVP frontrunner going forward. And I think DeMar could sneak his way up there, but I just think it's Joel Embiid right now. We have an Olympic recap along with MLB news coming up on the list. We'll be right back.
Welcome to to Jitter's Coffee House. Located on the first floor of the Wells Towers, Jitter's is a student-run coffee lounge and offers a variety of coffee and ice cream-based drinks and is home to many entertaining programs, including live music, gamer trivia nights, and other performances. Coordinate your activity by emailing jitters@uww.edu. Jitters is completely run by volunteers who can earn service hours and even receive a free drink during their shift. Stop in tonight at Jitter's Coffee House, where fun events and community come together.
Welcome to the University Bookstore. The University Bookstore provides students with the opportunity to purchase apparel, gift items, textbooks, snacks, supplies, and other necessities right here on campus. The bookstore is also home to textbook rental, where you can find many of your required textbooks. Our friendly staff always goes the extra mile to provide customers with a quick and pleasant experience. Visit the bookstore today to find great deals on everything you need to succeed as a Warhawk.
The UC can get you connected to all your basic needs. Grab a coffee and a meal. Study by the fireplace. Bowl, play, and relax when you want a break from homework. The UC has much more to offer to Whitewater students. Go to the UC's website to see what's going on this week.
Welcome back to The List on UWW-TV. Let's continue the countdown to this week's top 2 sports stories. The 2022 Winter Olympics have officially concluded and medal history has been made. Norway not only broke the record for most gold medals in a single Olympics with 16, but also defeated the Russian Olympic Committee in the total medal count with 37. The Russian Olympic Committee had the second most medals with 32, winning the silver medal in men's hockey to finish up the Olympics. The United States ultimately won 8 gold medals and finished with a total of 25. Matt, what are your thoughts on Norway's dominance throughout the Olympics?
Yeah, I thought it was definitely pretty interesting to see a country like Norway come in and really compete with the big dogs. And then as far as the Olympics go, I thought it was definitely an interesting year for the Olympics. I think hockey was very interesting this year, especially with the no pros playing. But Nolan, I thought it was a pretty good Olympics this year. What did you think?
Yeah, I think we have to give a lot of props to Norway. They set a record with 39 total medals in Pyeongchang in 2018, so they're really some Winter Olympic giants here, and you got to give them their props. Now they have a gold medal record as well. And as for the USA, big props to Nathan Chen, who won the figure skating gold medal for the U.S. That was a big-time gold medal for the United States, and he really proved to be kind of the big American hero in this year's Olympics.
All right, folks, it's time to reveal our #1 sports story of the week. And that's going to be the MLB Lockout will be our #1 story of the week and one of the largest developments in professional sports in years. The 2022 baseball season is in jeopardy because of the Major League Baseball lockout. Team owners and players have not been able to agree on a new collective bargaining agreement for the sport. Commissioner Rob Manfred and the owners said they were canceling the first 2 series of the season. Negotiations have ended for the immediate future after the Major League Baseball Players Association rejected the MLB's best and final offer. Can you imagine a summer without baseball, and do you think there will be a solution?
You know, ultimately, this was a disappointment. I can't really imagine a summer without baseball. I know that baseball has had this issue in the past. They had to cancel a World Series in 1994 due to a player strike. But ultimately, I think the two sides are just going to grow farther apart. Now, we saw them get a little bit closer towards the end of that deadline that the MLB had imposed, kind of the Monday, and then it even extended into Tuesday night. But ultimately, no deal came. And now I think the sides are just going to keep splitting farther apart, and I wouldn't be very surprised if we didn't have a season this year. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I think kind of the players and the owners are both to blame on this one, and I really hope that they're able to get a deal done soon. Matt, what do you think about this?
I mean, yeah, this just seems like a very Major League Baseball thing to happen. It kind of seems like the other leagues at this point, the NFL, basketball, and hockey, they're going to pass these things. It just seems like baseball just keeps on slipping and slipping, despite many people kind of wanting it to pick up and, kind of reclaim its title as one of America's most popular sports. But I definitely think baseball will return at some point. The two sides just eventually got to come to an agreement, and I think that's going to happen fairly soon, but you never know with Major League Baseball. And that will do it for this edition of The List. We'll be back next week to talk up the sports headlines. For Nolan, Zopydlowski, I'm Matt Ellis. See you next week.